Hi, my name is Cannon Winkler, and you're watching Sales Fast Track.
In this video, you're going to learn about different types of leads and how likely each one is to close. We'll be counting them by closing rate, so get ready for number 1. One of the best leads you can get is an inbound inquiry from a current satisfied client. Essentially, this is when one of your existing customers calls you up and says, "Hey, I love your product, can I buy 10 more?" This deal practically falls into your lap, so we can expect this type of lead to have an average closing rate of about 95%. Number 2, inbound inquiry from a prior satisfied client. This is when you have a great relationship with the client, but maybe they've moved companies. So they call you up and they say, "Hey, your products worked great for us at my last company, can we buy some here?" For this, we can expect a 90 to 95% closing rate. Number 3, outbound call to a current satisfied client. This is when you call one of your customers and say, "I know product X is really working out for you, and I think we might be able to help you with Y. Are you interested?" Since we already have a good track record with this client, the closing rate should be around 80 to 90%. Number 4, outbound call to a prior satisfied client. This is pretty much the same as the last one, except for one reason or another, our contact is no longer a current customer. For this, we can also expect a closing rate between 80 and 90%. Number 5, inbound inquiry from a word-of-mouth referral. Essentially, this means someone that knows you or your company told a friend to get in contact with you. So they would call you up and say, "Hey, I have a problem X, and Bob told me that you have something that can help. Can you tell me more about that?" These types of leads can be pretty variable, so we'll be looking at a closing rate anywhere between 30 and 70%. Number 6, inbound inquiry from advertising. This type of lead comes from someone seeing your company's marketing and deciding to follow up on it. So they might call you up and say, "Hey, I saw your website and that you sell X. Can you tell me more?" This lead will have a closing rate around 30 to 50%. Number 7, introduced referral. This is when someone who is familiar with your work says, "Hey, I want you to meet Sarah. She has problem X and I thought you could help." This kind of lead will have an average closing rate between 25 and 35%. Number 8, outbound call to a scrubbed list. Now, this is when you have a list of contacts that have been filtered for their potential to become qualified leads. Essentially, you'll be making a cold call to say, "Hi, I'm Jim, and I help companies with X. Do you have X problems?" This kind of prospecting will give you a closing rate of about 5 to 10%. And finally, we have number 9, outbound call to an unscrubbed list. For this kind of lead, you're essentially calling random companies out of the blue to see if they have any interest in your product or service. As you can imagine, this has a very low closing rate, somewhere between 0.3 and 2%. Now that you know the different types of leads, you have an idea of how to prioritize your time as a seller. Do you want to spend your time chasing leads with low closing rates, or focus your energy on the ones with a much better chance of following through?
We hope you learned something in this video, and we'll catch you next time on Sales Fast Track.